Hello everyone, today I'm going to be sharing with you the mechanics and techniques behind the flower curtain as it is behind me here. It's a great alternative to a flower wall. It's less cumbersome, easier to install, little less flowers to use, and it's just fun designing in it. Hope you enjoy it. Thicken it up a little bit. Hello everyone, today I'm going to share with you the mechanics that go behind creating a flower curtain. As you know, the flower curtain that I'm speaking of is composed of several of these, what I call a twig garland with water tubes. So this is what I'm going to show you how to create today. First, what you need is some twigs. And these twigs it's better if the twigs have been dried so that there's no shrinkage after you create this curtain. What we're going to do is I'm going to just cut them with pruners and into this little cube that I have here. You can do it in random sizes, and I'm going to just cut them all up so that you have the different pieces to work with. When you have a piece like this, you want to also include a more interesting piece such as that here as well. Maybe I'm going to keep that little side piece. Also going to go ahead and have some little skinny ones as well, up to a point where it's a little bit too skinny so you can discard. So I'm going to use that all up by cutting it up into these pieces. Next, what we're going to do is get them prepared to be attached into the garland. So what I'm going to do is take pieces of U-glue, cut them into halves, again using the non-stick scissors, and then cut them into quarters. So you're going to just cut little pieces of U-glue so that they're ready to use. And then what you're going to do is take this and you're going to toss it into this other cube with the little sticky U-glue quarters into it. You want to sort of work with these pieces and sort of create a little stash so that it's all ready to work on the whole length of the twig garland. All random sizes and random shapes. It just makes it a much more interesting garland in the end. So next step is to start the garland itself. I'm using the Smithers Oasis bind wire. I'm going to double loop it here so that we can see what length of the twig garland that we want to create. So I'm gonna say that this might be the length. Of course, by adding in the little twigs and the water tubes into this, it's going to shorten a little bit. So just remember that when you're creating. The other item that you need to prepare are the water tubes. So the water tubes, what you need for that is you need to have these cut in halves. Of course, the reason for putting the U-glue dashes onto the water tube, you're going to put one at the very bottom, and then you're going to line it up so that it fits on either side of. So you want to have these prepared so that it's ready to go. Basically, what you need is about 4 to 6 pieces per garland, because you want to have an ability to have different spots on that length of twig garland where you can then put the flowers in as the curtain hangs up. So I'm putting in on either side and then across the bottom. So we're preparing, let's just say 4 for now, because I have a very short garland to make to demonstrate. So there they are. The next step is taking the doubled up fine wire. And we're going to start by, let's just bring out a few of these right here on the table. And we're going to start out by twisting these twigs in. The idea with the U-glue on each one is so that no matter what kind of shrinkage or what kind of wear and tear that you put on this twig garland, that it will not come apart. That's one of my experiences in the past when I made twig garland, is that especially if you used fresh green twigs and then you make it into a garland such as this, you'll find that with shrinkage, it just eventually slips out, usually within a week or so of creating the garland. And that's a shame when you have something that's really beautiful and because of the shrinkage, it sort of disassembles. I think that's a shame. The idea of any time you create something that's sort of handcrafted takes a little bit of time. You want to make sure you use methods that's going to make it last longer so that you can use it for repeat use, rental purpose, and so on and so forth. So maybe you're going to start out with maybe a length such as that. You can kind of twist it up. And then we're going to add in the water tube. So the water tube, you're going to first peel off at the bottom end and run that bind wire along it. Peel off this side piece, attach, peel off this other side piece of U-glue tab and attach to the sticky so that it sticks all the way around the bottom and the two sides, and then you're going to twist. The beauty of this mechanic here, the way it's set up, is that it splits the water tube in half so that when you fill this with water, you can put a stem on one side and the other, and it helps balance out the flower so that it doesn't tip. And look at how much character this has to just have that little bit of a twig with a side branch on the side. I think that makes it really, really interesting. I'm basically twisting each time about 3 or 4 times, because if you twist only a couple, the space in between becomes much tighter, which looks beautiful, but it takes longer to complete this garland. And you want to make sure that you don't get too caught up in doing so much tedious work that each piece is not as efficient to produce. So basically, you just continue to do this so that it fills the gap with the twigs in between the water tubes. You want to kind of space it out randomly so that you have a short string of twigs, and then you have the water tube, and then the next set of twigs, maybe a little bit longer, so the spacing is random. So again, I come to another spot that I want to put another water tube. So same thing. So you can see that having all these parts prepared makes the final construction of each twig garland much more simplistic, much more systematic, and this is what you want. You don't want to be interrupted by making the pieces, the parts, much too often. So this is basically how you create it, and then you can see that it becomes something like this. So this is the series of twig garland parts that you need to be able to create the flower curtain. So I'm here to just put in the last couple of pieces, last couple of twig garlands that goes into the mechanics of this flower curtain. Right here, I'm just twisting it into the little eyelets that I've put on the piece of wood bar. And so this makes it the flower curtain complete. And then I'm gonna go and take this squeeze bottle and just fill these water tubes with water, nice and full. The best part of this mechanics is that the weight of the water that's in these tubes keeps these lines looking very straight. It hangs nice and straight, gives it weight, and it gives you ability to design into all the different parts of this flower curtain. The key thing to remember as far as flowers go, you have to know your flowers. You have to know to use flowers that are not heavy drinkers, because these tubes are not very big, and at most you're going to put 2 stems in a tube. And so you want to make sure that they don't drink up water really quickly. By using 2 stems, one on either side of the tie, makes it possible for each tube to be more balanced, and makes for a more dimensional design in the end. So you can see that this gives us lots of opportunity to use flowers, but yet only 2 stems per each tube at most. So what you're going to find is that it's a very cost-effective way of creating a nice transparent flower curtain, rather than the typical flower wall that is so heavy and consumes so much product. So it's really a fun idea. I think you'll have fun creating this. You can concoct a real range, a palette of flowers, little garden flowers, little foraged materials, as well as some beautiful flowers purchased. And so you'll be able to enjoy the making of this. So have fun designing the flower curtain. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.